Greetings everyone, and welcome to my next tutorial on Godot. This one actually is going to be about creating a mask using shaders in 2D. So it's something I've just started using, and I think it's really exciting, and I think you can learn some other stuff from this small tutorial. So let's just jump right in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a sprite, and so I'm just going to do it while I'm telling you. I'm going to create a sprite here. A sprite, and what we're going to do is we are going to mask the sprite with another texture. So this is my sprite. This is actually a monster, or excuse me, a dragon from Sentinels of Eshall, and that's the game I'm currently working on. So this is a 2D, I guess you call it cubism view of that little dragon. Anyway, this is so what I want to do is make a circle around, like cut out all of it on the outside and leave that part in without actually editing the image. And it's surprisingly easy to do, so we're just going to jump right in and do this. The best way I've found so far, there might be other ways, but this is the one that I found is the easiest and the most versatile, is by using the shader. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new material right here, just a new canvas material. And then you go forward, and then the next thing you're going to do is make a new canvas shader graph. Alright, so when we do that, we're going to go over here and we'll be editing this graph. Let me close this down. Alright, so I'm somewhat new to the shader graphs. This is not my strong point, so just bear with me a little bit as I go through this, but the more I use it, the more I realize how powerful this is. So I would encourage everyone just to play around with this as much as you can. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to grab the UVs from the input, and I'm going to create a new canvas item texture. Now what that actually is from what I can understand, is actually this image. The image that's the canvas item, the texture that's put onto that canvas item. So that's what that is right there. And so we're going to apply the UVs to it, and that sets it up where the UVs match up with this item correctly. Alright, now then I need to bring in my mask, so that's a texture uniform, and I'm just going to name it mask, and I'm going to attach this to the UV as well, and then I'm going to load the new image up, and so we're going to load up this circle mask. Alright, so far so good, pretty easy. The next thing we're going to do is we need to combine these alphas to make it where we'll cut the circle around this guy, and so that's the next thing we need to do. So I'm going to do a scalar, it's a scalar operator, and so what this is, instead of a vector, x, y, it's just a single number. So alpha is a number from 0 to 1, of course, so whatever the alpha is on this one, and then we're going to take the alpha from that, and we're going to put it to the alpha there. Now, that adds to it, so it adds the alpha from this one to the alpha of that one. That's not what we want. What we want to do is multiply, and I don't understand the math. I don't understand why multiplying does that, but that's what it does. The multiplying between these two alphas would actually cut that alpha out and make it where you see that mask. Now that's pretty simple and straightforward, and that you could actually save this this texture, this material as a material that we can reuse it all the time, and basically make all your masks using just this. So it's really simple, really straightforward. But let's say we want this circle to move, and how would we do that? We couldn't just kind of drag this around, because that wouldn't move it. That just moves the whole thing. So it's pretty simple to do that as well, and I'm going to show you that next. So the next thing we need to do is add a vector operator right here, and so we're going to grab from the UV here to there, and we're going to make the output right there. Now that's going to doesn't miss everything right now, because that's still adding 0 to that, so it doesn't really change anything. And so what we need to do is to make it where we can change to move that circle. We need to change the x and the y. Okay, so that would be a scalar, and we need to take the scalar. We need an x and y, and stick it x, y in here to go out that way. So that's what we're going to do here. Is we're going to grab a scalar to vector, so it can actually turn. So you see, it has an x, y, and n. I don't know what n actually is. so we're going to take this this x and y, and then we can change this to whatever number we want. Now, what I'm changing it to, since this is a small texture, we don't want to be big numbers. It'll be like 0.2, and you see how it moves it that way some. Or we can change the y to 0.1, or we can go -1. You get the picture. So basically you can move it around by moving the x and the y. Now this isn't very helpful if you want to reuse the texture or the material, because you'd have to go in here and try to change this all the time. So that's not what we want to do. What we want to do is set up a uniform. And uniform basically is a variable that can be used from the editor. And I'm going to show you how to do that. We can go here and do a scalar uniform. Where's that? Right here. And we're going to name this one X. And I'm going to do capital X and put that right there. Okay, so it looks like it's the same thing because there's just a number right here that we could move up or down as we need to. It's slowly not moving. And then we can do another scalar uniform that would be capital Y. Alright. So that's really all we need to do, but you can see if we do it, it should work. Hopefully, yeah. See, it moved it over like you expected. But again, to edit that, it looks like we'd have to edit it from inside of here. Well, this is one of the cool things about Godot, is when you go over here and go back to this the material before you go into the graph, you can see that this X and Y are actually already there. And I'm going to fix one thing real quick. I wanted to change this to. We're going to use that in just a second. So you can change this X and Y from right here from the editor, and if you know you can change it from the editor, you can also change it from the script as well. If you don't know how to do that, Ivan made a great example, and I'll link to his post a few days ago about how to edit parameters from the material in the editor. But I mean, it's going to be in the scripts. So I'll add a link to his post about that because it was really cool. That's how we can actually change this. Now, another thing we can do is right here, since that texture was a uniform texture, we can actually change the texture. So we can make it where this star is a, it's a star instead of a circle. But we can change, and if not, it'll just go back to the default, which is the circle. Now, there's one more thing that I wanted to show you could do, is that you can actually apply this to the animation player. And I'm going to do that really quick. So let's say you have an animation where a flashlight's going by or whatever, whatever you need a mask to be uncovered and covered. This is a really simple way of doing that. So again, I just added a new animation player, and I'm going to add an animation, call it move. Alright, so now that we're here, just like everything else in Godot, everything including the X and Y are keyframeable. So I can keyframe that X at the 0. It'll ask to create a new track, and there we go, create a new track. And we'll do a Y, and there's a new track right there. And let's go to let's go right around here. And then so we can move this to 0.2 and 0.5, and we can keyframe these, and we can move this to just do -0.2, -0.5, and keyframe those, and then just set these back to 0. Alright, and so if I push play, it moves around like that. You can actually make it in a loop, and it will go in a loop, and it'll just constantly go back and forth like that. And also you can change this back to being that star. So you get some really cool effects by doing this, and this could actually be applied to a lot of different things, including anything that can use a canvas material or a canvas item can use this. So it's really powerful and really neat. And I hopefully this short tutorial could help you kind of open your eyes to a few things and make you think about a different way of doing a few items in Godot. If you like this tutorial, go ahead and subscribe to my page. This one was shorter because I'm going to try to make a few more short tutorials like this to help people out instead of having long 30-minute ones. Also, I do apologize for not having as many tutorials up recently. I've just released a game in early access called Sentinels of Eshall, and so that's what I've been doing for the past month. And I'm going to put a link to that in the page as well. I would love for you to go check it out. We have a free demo that you can go ahead and download and play. And we'll be having monthly updates starting in late November. So again, be sure to subscribe, and thank you for your time.